Listen up, champion. There's a battle happening right now, one the world around you cannot witness. No weapons, no armies, no battlefield you can point to on a map. It lives inside you, in the tight knot in your chest when someone crosses a line, in the spiral of thoughts when a message goes unanswered, in that moment when one careless word flips your entire day upside down. But from the outside, you're composed. You're nodding. You're saying, all good. I'm fine. While somewhere deep inside, you're barely keeping your head above water. This silent war, this hidden emotional storm, is something millions of people are fighting every single day, and most of them never win. Not because they lack heart, not because they're broken, but because no one ever handed them the tools to stay grounded when the ground starts shaking. You've met people like that, haven't you? People who move through pressure without crumbling, who stay level-headed when everyone else is losing their minds. You thought maybe they were cold, maybe they didn't care, but that's not it at all. They're not switched off. They're switched on to something deeper. And the most important thing to understand, they weren't born this way. They built it, deliberately, consistently, one habit at a time. That's exactly what we're doing today. You're going to walk away from this with 9 powerful Stoic habits. Habits that will give you real, lasting emotional control. Not a performance, not a mask, but the kind of quiet, unshakable inner strength that no insult can dent, no drama can destabilize, and no rejection can crumble. But first, here's the foundational truth you must accept. Seneca, one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "We suffer far more in our minds than we ever do in reality." Think about that. We replay insults before they happen. We rehearse conversations that never take place. We feel pain from things that exist only in imagination. Our own thoughts become the enemy. So if we want to become emotionally untouchable, the first thing we have to do is stop letting our minds manufacture suffering out of thin air. Because the reality is, you are not obligated to absorb every emotion people throw your way. You don't have to engage with every provocation. You don't have to pick up every piece of emotional weight that gets left at your door. What you do need, more than anything, is discipline. Not cold, mechanical discipline, the kind that actually liberates you. Stoicism was never about killing your emotions. It was about refusing to be enslaved by them. It was about standing in the middle of complete chaos and still finding your center. It's the ability to walk away and feel zero guilt about it. To stay quiet and walk away the winner. To endure the invisible battles and come out the other side stronger than anyone knows. You are not too sensitive. You are not broken for feeling things deeply. But you will stay trapped if you never develop the skill to dial it back when the moment demands it. These 9 habits won't turn you into a different person. They'll strip away everything that was burying the most powerful version of you. The one beneath the anxiety, beneath the reactivity, beneath the constant need for validation. If you've ever caught yourself saying, "Why can't I just let things go?" Or, "Why do I always react before I think?" Or, "I wish I could be calm the way some people just are," then you are exactly where you need to be right now. Stay with this until the end. Don't rush. Don't skip. And if this is already landing, drop in the comments right now. I control my emotions. They don't control me. Let's get into it. Someone takes a shot at you. Maybe they lie. Maybe they undercut you. Maybe they disrespect you right to your face. Your body tightens up. Your instinct screams, fight back, defend yourself, set the record straight. But here's what Stoicism actually teaches. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, the pain comes not from the thing itself, but from your judgment of it. And this you have the power to change at any moment." What that means in plain terms, it's rarely the event itself that wounds you. It's the story you instantly construct around it. Most people react personally to everything because their sense of self is standing on shaky ground. When someone disagrees, it feels like an attack. When someone pulls back, it feels like rejection. When someone points out a flaw in their work, it feels like a verdict on their worth. The Stoic habit here is to separate your identity from the moment. Not because it's comfortable, it isn't, not at first, but because your peace absolutely depends on it. When someone comes at you with anger or cruelty, ask yourself honestly, is this about me? Or are they throwing their own pain in my direction? Are they showing me my value, or are they showing me their chaos? There's a gap that exists between the moment someone says something cutting and the moment you respond. That space is where your real power lives. Because once you stop absorbing everything as a personal verdict, you gain a kind of calm that most people never access. You become someone who hears things, processes them clearly, and responds with intention, not someone who fires back just to feel like they did something. This isn't about being passive. It's about being precise. You're not avoiding the fight. You're choosing which fights deserve your energy. When you stop making every situation about you, something surprising happens. You actually gain more influence over yourself. That's the Stoic paradox. The less personally you take things, the more control you have. Next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, treat it like it has nothing to do with you, even if part of you feels like it does. The feeling hits: rage, hurt, anxiety. It comes in fast and hard, and before your thinking brain even gets a chance to weigh in, your reaction is already out there. A sharp word, a door closed harder than it needed to be, a message you can't take back. And 5 minutes later, you already wish you hadn't. That's what emotional speed costs you. It steals your pause. It connects the trigger directly to the reaction and cuts out the only part that actually matters: your mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should train ourselves to remember that people cause harm unknowingly. In other words, slow your judgment, not just your words, your entire emotional tempo. When something lands that stings, ask, does this actually need a response right now? What if I waited a full day before deciding what to do with this? Your power isn't in being the fastest to react. It's in the deliberate delay. The mind is fast, but wisdom is slow, and emotional untouchability demands that you kill the urgency that destroys your peace. Picture this. Someone says something offensive. You go completely still. You don't speak. You breathe. You walk away and think it over. And by the time you get there, you realize you don't even want to respond. You've moved past it. That is not weakness. That is mastery. Feelings dress everything up as urgent. But urgency is one of the greatest enemies of clear thinking. The emotion you experience in the first 10 seconds is almost always just noise, reactive, instinctive, and usually wrong. If you slow down, that noise fades. And in the quiet that follows, you start to see that most things didn't need a response at all. Most arguments were just traps. Most emotional storms were just weather passing through. Strategic isn't cold. Strategic is choosing your peace over your pride. Real strength is feeling the heat rise in your chest and still speaking like you're made of calm water. Let others be loud and fast and reactive. You move with purpose. You speak after thinking. You act, never out of panic, always out of clarity. When the wave of emotion hits, don't rush to answer the door. Let it stand there. Let it wait. Let it cool. And when you finally respond, it'll be on your terms. Drop in the comments, I slow down to stay in control. You feel like someone got the wrong idea about you. You feel judged and misread, and everything in you wants to explain, to clarify, to prove your side. But Stoicism doesn't require you to be understood. It requires you to be at peace when you're not. Marcus Aurelius said, stop wasting time arguing what a good person looks like. Be one. Here's the hard truth. Most people who demand an explanation from you aren't trying to understand you. They're looking for an opening. And even if you deliver the clearest, most reasonable explanation of your life, they'll find a way to reshape it into something against you. That's why the habit of not explaining yourself is so powerful. It isn't about being secretive or evasive. It's about trusting that your actions carry more weight than your justifications ever will. You don't explain your progress. You keep progressing. You don't defend your silence, you guard it. You don't justify your decisions, you live with them confidently. If someone genuinely cares about you, they won't need a formal defense. And if they don't care about you, no amount of explaining will satisfy them. So why pour your energy into convincing people who've already decided? People will form opinions about you regardless of what you say. Let them speculate. Let them fill in the blanks. Let them build whatever story they want. While they're doing that, you keep growing. Every moment you spend defending yourself to someone who has already made up their mind is a moment taken directly from your peace. Say less. Do more. Let your life answer for you. When you stop chasing understanding from people who don't want to give it, you discover a different kind of freedom. Freedom from needing to be approved of. Freedom from letting other people's perceptions direct your choices. You know what you stand for. You don't need a witness to make it real. Stop making yourself smaller so others feel comfortable. Your peace doesn't owe anyone an explanation. You step into a room and feel the atmosphere change. Someone's eyes roll. Someone dismisses what you said before you've even finished saying it. You hold a composed face, but something inside shifts. Later, alone, you replay it. Analyze it. Let it take up space in your head well into the night. This is what emotional exposure does to a person. Most of us walk around essentially unprotected on the inside, raw, open, and absorbing everything. And it's not a character flaw. It's human. But Stoicism offers something better. Not a wall that shuts the world out, but a wall that protects what's most essential inside you. Marcus Aurelius put it clearly, you have power over your mind, not over external events. Understand this, and you will find your strength. What that means practically, other people can say whatever they want, but they only reach your core if you leave the door wide open for them. So how do you build this wall? You make the decision, firmly, privately, that your internal peace is not subject to public vote. You stop letting your sense of self-worth be determined by people who don't even respect themselves. You stop waiting for emotional approval from people who have no investment in your well-being. The wall gets built quietly. It gets a little thicker every time you choose not to engage with a provocation. Every time someone's critique slides off you instead of sinking in. Every time you catch yourself thinking, that doesn't belong to me. This isn't hardness. It's not emotional shutdown. It's discretion about what you allow access to your inner world. Your mind is not a public space. Not everyone earns entry. Not every comment deserves to land. Not every person gets the privilege of affecting how you feel about yourself. Practice this. When someone tries to guilt you into something, let the wall hold. When someone manipulates the story, let the wall hold. When someone chips at your confidence, let the wall receive it, so you don't have to. The world will keep testing you, but you don't have to keep absorbing the damage. Every time something rolls off you instead of through you, the wall gets stronger. You stop collapsing. You stop bleeding. And eventually, the people who used to be able to unravel you with a single comment will find that nothing they throw at you sticks anymore. Drop in the comments, I protect my peace behind invisible walls. Here's something no one warns you about. Disrespect is not an occasional surprise. It's a regular feature of life. It comes from colleagues, from friends, from strangers on screens, from people you poured yourself into. And if you're not prepared for it, it lands like a shock every single time. Stoicism chooses preparation over surprise. Marcus Aurelius used to begin his days by reminding himself, the people I encounter today may be difficult, dishonest, ungrateful, or arrogant. Not because he was cynical, because he was training himself emotionally so that when reality showed up, he wasn't thrown off balance by it. This is the difference. You don't train for sunny days. You train for the storm precisely so that when it arrives, you don't get swept away. Want to be untouchable? Stop expecting fairness. Stop expecting to always be understood. Stop expecting people to respond to your kindness with kindness. Not because the world is terrible, but because expecting the opposite leaves you permanently off balance. When you've prepared for the disrespect, when it actually comes, you don't flinch. You've already run through this scenario. You've already chosen your response. You are not caught off guard. You're simply trained. Think about it this way. Someone hurls something at you. You can hurl it back, or you can let it connect with something solid and fall to the ground without doing a thing to you. That armor, it's not made of muscle or anger. It's made of self-knowledge, of knowing that your value doesn't shrink because someone failed to recognize it. You don't have to raise your voice to prove your worth. You don't have to convince anyone that you deserve better. You stand grounded, centered, unmoved. And here's what people notice. When they can't shake you, they either find a new level of respect for you, or they remove themselves from your space. Either way, you come out ahead. You're low, depleted, maybe anxious, maybe heartbroken, maybe just completely drained. And the natural response is to go looking for something that makes it stop, scroll through your phone, put on something distracting, look for something to numb the feeling even briefly. It gives you a moment of relief. And then it's worse than before. Because the problem was never really the feeling, it was the thinking underneath it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Emotions aren't the enemy, but treating emotions as the primary thing to fix, that's where the cycle breaks down." The Stoics understood this clearly. Feelings are waves, and your thinking is the vessel. You can't stop waves, but you can make the vessel stronger. Instead of asking, "Why do I feel this way?" start asking, "What thought is generating this feeling?" You're frustrated because someone didn't meet an expectation. You're sad because you believe something would turn out differently. The feeling came from somewhere, and that somewhere is a thought you can examine and challenge. When you shift from chasing emotional relief to building mental clarity, something fundamental changes. You stop needing the highs because you're no longer afraid of the lows. You become someone who watches their mind with curiosity rather than drowning in it. Practical Stoic move. The next time an intense emotion grabs you, don't run from it and don't try to force it away. Sit with it. Name the thought that created it. Then ask one honest question. Is this thought accurate or just loud? Most of the pain we carry doesn't come from real circumstances. It comes from thoughts that go completely unexamined. You don't need another distraction. You need mental discipline. When you train yourself to think clearly, peace follows without being chased. When you train yourself to think slowly, anxiety loses its grip. When you think deeply, your emotions stop working against you and start working for you. Feelings tell you something. Thinking tells you what to do about it. You wake up and something feels off. Low, heavy, anxious for no identifiable reason. And almost immediately your mind wants to know why. What's wrong with me? Why do I feel like this? Is something about to go wrong? And here's the truth no one actually tells you. Not every feeling is a message. Some emotions are just energy moving through your nervous system. Chemical shifts, the body processing something. Weather inside you that has nothing to do with any larger meaning. Epictetus said, "It's not the things that happen that disturb us, it's the judgments we place on them." And the same is completely true for what happens inside us. We don't suffer more because we feel intensely. We suffer more because we interpret everything we feel. You're tired. You might be depleted. You might just be human on a difficult day. But instead of letting it pass, the mind starts stacking meaning on top of it. I must be failing. I must be doing something wrong. Something must be fundamentally broken in me. That's not emotion. That's emotion plus a story you built on top of it. The Stoic practice here is precise. Observe, but don't assign. You can feel sadness and not call yourself damaged. You can feel worry and not assume catastrophe is coming. You can feel frustrated without turning it into evidence of personal failure. Watch your emotions the way you watch weather. Notice it's raining. Don't decide the rain means the world is ending. When you stop turning every internal state into a narrative, you gain freedom that's difficult to describe until you experience it. Some feelings have no cause. Some feelings deserve no response. You are allowed to feel out of sorts and still be completely okay. That's not numbness. That's genuine emotional intelligence. Tell yourself, I feel off today. I don't need to know why. I'll let it move through me. It doesn't define who I am. Detach the meaning and the emotion loses its power to drag you somewhere dark. Drop in the comments. I feel emotions, but I don't let them define me. Most people genuinely cannot sit still. The second silence appears, they're reaching for noise, music, phone, content, conversation, anything to avoid the quiet. Because in the quiet, things come up, things they'd rather not face. But that quiet, that's exactly where something important grows. Silence and discomfort are not things to escape from. They're the actual training ground. Epictetus said, difficulties reveal a person's character, not comfort, not ease, difficulty. If you want to be emotionally unshakable, you have to do something most people instinctively avoid. You have to walk toward the hard thing instead of away from it. Not for punishment, not to prove something, but because every time you sit in discomfort without running, you are building something that no motivational content can give you. Start simple. 10 minutes each day, no phone, no sound, no distraction. Just you and your own thoughts. The first few times your mind will be chaotic, loud. It will try to convince you there's something urgent you need to attend to. Stay anyway. Over time, the noise settles, and in the stillness that follows, you hear something clear. Then take it further. Cold water in the morning. Saying no when people-pleasing is the easier option. Sitting with a craving instead of immediately satisfying it. Speaking honestly even when your voice wavers. These aren't dramatic gestures. They're small, consistent acts of building tolerance. They teach your nervous system that discomfort doesn't mean danger, that you can endure and be absolutely fine. Once you're no longer afraid of silence, no one can weaponize loneliness against you. Once you're no longer afraid of discomfort, no one can use pressure to manipulate you. You've been in there. You've already trained for it. That is what the Stoics actually did. They practiced scarcity. They sat with hunger, with solitude, with rejection, not out of suffering, but out of preparation. They wanted to know for certain, if this happens, I will not fall apart. Build that certainty in yourself. Practice it before you need it. You react. You say something you didn't mean to say. You spiral. You snap when you told yourself you wouldn't. What do you do next? Most people either punish themselves endlessly or quietly ignore it and move on, hoping it won't happen again. Neither approach actually teaches you anything. Emotional control isn't the absence of slipping. It's what you do every time you slip. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person refined without trials." So when your emotions take over, study it like a crime scene. Ask the precise questions. What exactly triggered me? What belief did I have in that moment that made this feel threatening? What would I do differently if I could replay it? Don't treat outbursts as moral failures. Treat them as data. Because every single time your emotions overflow, they're pointing you towards something unresolved, something still waiting for attention. Someone said something dismissive and you came apart. Don't just justify it. Examine it. What if the real trigger wasn't what they said, but a belief that you need to be seen as powerful in order to be worth something? That's not their fault. That's a thread inside you that's worth pulling. And here's what makes this habit genuinely transformative. Write it down. Keep a record. When you start reviewing your emotional patterns over time, you see exactly which environments destabilize you, which people consistently pull you off center, which thoughts reliably create chaos. That pattern is information, and information you understand, you can change. Eventually, you'll start noticing the feeling before it becomes the reaction. You'll feel the familiar surge, and instead of becoming it, you'll observe it. You'll think, here it is again. And then you'll breathe, pause, and choose differently. That's what Stoicism actually looks like in practice. Not perfection, precision. Not never falling, but falling less and learning more each time. Stop judging yourself for the slips. Start studying them. Your peace literally depends on it. Drop in the comments. Every reaction is my roadmap to greater control. In a world addicted to noise, reaction, and chaos, choosing calm is genuinely radical. It's a quiet revolution that takes place inside you, one moment, one choice, one held pause at a time. You now have 9 Stoic habits that, practiced with real consistency, will do something extraordinary. They won't just protect your peace. They'll fundamentally change who you are in moments of pressure. Not into someone who doesn't feel, but into someone who feels deeply and is no longer ruled by it. You'll stop being the person every little trigger can redirect. You'll stop giving your emotional keys to people who don't deserve them. You'll stop crumbling every time life gets chaotic and loud. Instead, you'll move with a stillness that makes people stop and take notice. You'll respond from clarity instead of reaction. You'll carry your calm like armor, and people around you will feel it even if they can't name it. They'll wonder why nothing seems to shake you, why you don't take the bait, why you seem settled when everyone else is spinning. They'll feel something unexpected from someone this composed. That's the quiet power of inner peace. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't ask for recognition. It simply exists, steady, grounded, real. You don't need to overpower anyone else. You only need to master yourself. And when you do, you become something rare. Someone who feels everything and is controlled by nothing. Someone who walks through the storm with their feet dry and their head clear. Someone who never merely reacts, but always chooses. Let the world race toward noise. You choose stillness. Let everything around you fall apart. You stay whole. This is your new standard. Like this, share it with someone who needs to hear it, subscribe, and leave your final affirmation right now in the comments. My calm is my power.